It is an honor for me to introduce the winner of the 2020 SMAC Prairie Star Award. Every other year, so this is not every year, but every other year, the Prairie Star Award gives a $5,000 honorarium check to an individual artist whose body of work has made a significant contribution to the arts over an extended period of time, who has been recognized by his or her artistic peers, and who has best exemplified the highest quality of work in the SMAC region. In recognizing these individuals publicly, the awards will raise the profile of the arts in their communities and throughout the SMAC region. This year, after nominations were evaluated and scored by the SMAC Board of Directors, it was determined that Tom Wirt of Hutchinson was well deserved to receive the honor of the 2020 SMAC Prairie Star. Tom was nominated by Greg Jadzio, a member of the Hutchinson Center for the Arts Board, as well as a member for the Hutchinson Public Arts Commission and the Hutchinson Rotary. In the nomination, Greg wrote, quote, "Tom's beautiful, high-fired, hand-thrown functional pottery for everyday use features all ceramic stoneware, oven cookware, and flameware stove top pots. His penchant for inventive pots for special uses and recipes has made a name for him around the country. Not many people have impacted the Minnesota rural art community more than Tom. He has been instrumental creating art and art awareness from Hutchinson and McLeod County and beyond. He brings business acumen to art, defining the term entrepreneur." I'd love for Greg Jadzio to take over, and Greg gets the pleasure of introducing Tom. Greg, are you there? Crickets. That's hilarious. I actually heard crickets. Tom, you get to take over. You get to, well, maybe Greg's just coming back online. There he is.
There he is. He was snoozing, actually.
No, for some reason I got kicked off. I'm not sure. Maybe the picture was too ugly. So I'm guessing that I'm introducing Tom right now.
Yes, you are.
And it is certainly my pleasure. Tom's art is, I think, really classified as studio pottery, making unique items on short runs. If you get a chance to look through his website, and you can see the beauty, breadth, and range of the work Tom does. Tom has really affected the rural arts, not only here in Hutchinson, but McLeod County, and I think in the SMAC region itself and beyond. He started his career in '94. He was a vice president at Baker Square, a marketing vice president, and he and his associate Betsy Price teamed up and left the corporate world to pursue their art. Tom did the throwing, and Betsy developed her glazing skills. What was different, I think, about Tom's art, he's an entrepreneur. I mean, he combined his marketing knowledge and his pottery skills to actually make a living. His marketing skills paid off when Paula Wolford saw some of his, I think, at a trade show and started some conversations. Paula Wolford is, I think, the author of 9 books and winner of the James Beard Foundation Medal for Lifetime Achievement. So she's pretty well known around the country and the world. She liked Tom's work. They started producing materials, cookware for Paula, and her recommendations, I think, led to about 5,000 or 6,000 pots per year or stoneware that they were making. So he was making money at it. They're recognized for their fit and beauty and functionality. I mean, Tom also had to be a scientist coming up with clay that would crack or explode while cooking. So, he's entrepreneur, he's an artist, and Tom is also an art promoter. He had been on the SMAC board for a number of years, but he was also instrumental in getting the art groups around Hutchinson and McLeod County together and forming the Hutchinson Art Center, which combines, I think now 13 or 14 different art partners in one main group. So Tom has been an important person in art around our region, and I think very deserving of this award. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Tom Wirt, Prairie Star Award winner for 2020. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Greg. It's interesting to hear how the story changes as we go. We didn't have enough wine that afternoon. I see Greg one time called and said, "Let's go have lunch because I think I'm going to put you in for a Prairie Star Award." And I said, "No, I don't fit." And I was just looking, Nicole, at your review of the people who have had it, and I just go, "Holy mackerel." I mean, when you see the Bill Holmes and the Bill Gossmans and, on and on and on, it's like, holy buckets. So I am truly honored and definitely humbled to be given this award. And I thank the board and Greg for all his work in writing up the application and stuff. And Julia, it's an honor to be acknowledged along with you, and you'll be talking in a minute, so get ready. I'm going to talk a little long here. I want to endorse Michelle's comments that she made about our incredible staff, and I was on the group, and there's other people here who were when we transferred from Greta retiring into the current staff. And the transition committee gave a challenge to Carolyn and to all of the whole group to say, reorganize yourselves and make it a good, efficient, well-working staff that you're all comfortable with. And they did that. They did it in spades. And I think from my observation, I've been around enough years, there's people here who are longer, but they have done and are continuing to do an incredible job for this organization and for our region. So to all of the staff, thank you very, very much. Now back to Greg, because
Here.
This award, I found out who I can trust. And Greg is a little shaky because I was standing in the studio with a couple of friends one day, and all of a sudden there's this honking out in the street. And then cars started turning in the driveway. And just unrelenting honking and noise and all of this stuff. And there's actually a video that I don't have it, but there's a video, and I said a couple of off-color words going, "What the hell's going on here?" And I still didn't get it until Nicole, and should have been my first clue when I said, Nicole, what are you and your husband doing? What's going on here? And, huh?
Oh, okay. Oh, we got another call.
So they drove in and he came out with the enlarged check thing, and then I finally figured it out. But anyway, there's a couple of thoughts, and one of my side gigs, if you will, is with the Small Business Development Center, based in Marshall, but they work with the Small Business Administration. And part of our job is to hand out the money that Congress is authorizing, almost $3 trillion at this point in time, to try and keep business going. Some of that money SMAC has gotten, and there's still more. So I'm advising business on how to get and use this money. And I fear in all this largesse that's been put out there, it's tended to go to the top end of things, but the arts haven't done very well in getting it. And this is going to be the lecture portion of what I'm going to say. I'm going to try and shorten it, but the arts haven't done very well in getting some of this money because we talk ourselves out of it. Let that sink in for a second. We talk ourselves out of it, in both individuals and organizations. In the past, individuals, because the IRS doesn't allow you to count yourself as an employee, they haven't even applied for these grants and loans and other monies that are available. The organizations are kind of in the same place. They've always said, oh, we're a nonprofit 501c3. We can't possibly qualify for them. All of a sudden, as the rules came out about these grants and these loans and stuff, it turns out that they had written the rules differently, and a sole proprietor like myself with the pottery counts as an employee all of a sudden. The arts, especially individuals, don't maintain good books. They don't read the details in these programs, and they don't watch out for new programs. So it's both Small Business Administration, the Department of Employment and Economic Development, and there's other state administration money that's coming out. And the Hutchinson last round, they were giving out $10,000 grants, and they didn't even use all the money up. And that's shame on us. The next round that Congress, they've been hassling over for some time, but the next round is truly going to be focused on small business and individuals. So depending on how they write the laws, it may be 501c3s, it may be individuals. That part of it we already know. The other interesting part that I've seen because of my association in small business development, the rules change almost weekly. We just got a notice from the Small Business Administration saying, don't apply if you got one of these loans like the PPP loan, don't apply for forgiveness yet, because the rules are slowly getting changed to make it the paperwork is simpler, and they're not being as picky on who might get forgiven and who might have to pay it back. So the rules change, and it's almost weekly as we go along, and it's to find yourself good advice and good support. And I talked with Nicole this morning, can we set up so that SMAC can do a job in helping communicate with people what's going on. Well, again, I'm going to keep the lecture going for 2 seconds here, but if somebody is trying to make a living as an artist, and this is coming from my small business development sense, your best friends are your accountant and your banker. That you have to act like a business, you have to learn the technology, and we're seeing that tonight. The technology is changing everything, and that you have to invest in yourself. Good equipment, good marketing, and I think one of the things we're going to have to change is for everything in our lives, we're going to have to get deeply involved in our communities. We're going to have to take care of each other, and we're going to have to learn to work with the communities around us. It isn't just going to be Hutchinson or, New London or Wilmer or whatever. It's going to be more regional, and that's the safety net, is that multiple towns look at their assets, which every town has, and then work together to haul us through this thing, because everything I'm hearing is this is going to be, there is no return to normal at this point. I've been working with a couple of people in the theater things, Sherry, not you, but others, and the theater industry is probably ahead of experimenting and trying things. The art shows have just kind of thrown up their arms and given up. And I think there's some technological stuff that they could be doing. In any case, I'm trying to bring it to a close. Everything is going to be different for all of us, but especially for artists, because they're sole proprietors, self-employed, and or 501c3 organizations like the art centers and theater companies. And there's gonna, long term, I believe, this is opinion, safety and community, that we have to pull together and start working together. And I think for those areas who haven't done it, is you start getting together, pulling meetings together, and figuring out what you can do. Where is this going to go? What's the technology? And what can we make happen? Rather than saying, unless we can fill the theater, boy, we shouldn't even try to do anything. And it's how do you put a play on, or a theater performance, or music performance, or whatever, and go online and monetize an online subscription along with your on-stage performance. And I know there's ways to do that. There's people that are starting to do it. Anyway, the point is, look for new ways to do things and quit trying to judge it on the basis of what's always worked. Corporately, there's an old saying that people said, the successful corporations fail fast and they fail cheap. In other words, throw stuff out there, see if something has a glimmer of working, and then if something has a glimmer, make it work better. And the way we're going to get there is a highly diverse communities get together and work. I'm done. Thank you again very, very much. And Joel, it's yours.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for all that info. As Tom said, we're going to be talking some more about how we can encourage, we meaning the Regional Arts Council, can encourage arts organizations to act more like businesses and to source and find ways to grow in these different times. It is also an honor for me to introduce the winner of the 2020 Prairie Disciple Award. The Prairie Disciple Award provides awareness and recognition of one individual per year from Southwest Minnesota, whose activities and involvement have substantially contributed to the arts over an extended period of time. The accomplishments of arts advocates working in the region are often not widely known or appreciated. In recognizing these individuals publicly, SMAC believes these awards raise the profile of the arts in their community and throughout the 18-county SMAC region. This year, the award was dedicated to be given to an educator and teacher. After the nominations were evaluated and scored by the SMAC Board of Directors, it was determined that Julia Iverson had the highest score and was highly meritorious for receiving the Prairie Disciple Award. Julia Iverson was nominated by Lonnie Boltman and Bonnie Smith. In her nomination, Lonnie said, quote, "Our nominee has devoted her entire life to an education of the arts by means of her long teaching career, gallery owner, exhibitor, panel judge, and generous donation of original paintings to local businesses, churches, and multiple charities. Julia organized a group of aspiring artists called Creating Art Together, or CAT, which now has 50 members. Up to 30 of these members gather every Wednesday and work in several mediums and range from beginners to professional artists. Julia has always supported young art talent in the New London Spicer School. The Julia Iverson Scholarship Fund, which awards a $500 scholarship each year to an outstanding senior from the New London Spicer Schools, was established in 2015. Give Julia an art project and watch it turn into a delightful experience, and guess what? You always learn something from this forever teacher." I'd like to invite Lonnie to talk a little more about Julia's nomination and then hand it over to Julia for a few words.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. I'm Lonnie Boltman, and along, of course, with Bonnie Lipinski-Smith, are the nominators of Julia Iverson for the 2020 Prairie Disciple Award. Now, we planned this evening to have a little get-together with the family and with a few friends and some past recipients, but tonight, we found out that Julia's husband, Roger, tested positive to the virus, and now Julia is in quarantine. So thank goodness we're all doing this from home tonight. And it would have been a fun celebration to all get together, but here we are doing it the new way. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Julia's history. Julia Iverson graduated from the University of Minnesota with a master's degree in art education. She has used it well. She is at least in teaching and in 6 schools and colleges in Minnesota and surrounding states. And she's done commercial projects. She's designed fabrics. She established that yearly scholarship for art students in the New London School District. And I know Nicole alluded to the CATS organization, and that's been very strong here. And like you say, 50 artists doing watercolor and lots of other things together. To me, Julia is a true art advocate. She's the first and foremost teacher and a mentor. Her generous contributions prove that she is a stellar promoter of the arts in our area and beyond. So from the comfort of home instead of our big banquet, I will introduce Julia Iverson as recipient of the 2020 Prairie Disciple Award.
Thank you, Lonnie. I don't know how this is working.
It's working wonderful. We can all hear you.
Can you hear me good? Because I don't see me on the picture.
I don't see you now. You're gone.
This is all my fault. You know, this is how I react to digital things. So I'm sorry, SMAC. It's all my fault that it isn't working perfectly. No, I want to thank Lonnie and Bonnie especially for promoting it. promoted me for this award. It certainly is an honorable one. I just got it in the mail yesterday, and it says, in recognition of outstanding commitment and sustained efforts to promote the arts in Southwest Minnesota. Those are big words, and I really do appreciate it. I also appreciate Craig and Lynn Edwards, who I know gave some more nice, kind words in putting in the presentation. So thank you to them and Carrie Weber. And, you know, the great thing that's happened here is moving to the New London area. I had taught, as you heard, in many other areas, but when I got here, it was like, oh, this is a renaissance of the North. There's so much art going on here, I could not believe it. And so it has really been a help that you have that kind of a background to work with when you try promoting arts, because they were already being promoted. We have all kinds of art festivals and music festivals and art and music festivals and so many good things that have happened in the New London area, and many of them with the help of SMAC, of course. One of the things I have to tell you about that I think is just so terrific happened when New London had its 100th anniversary. And I'm not too sure how much SMAC had to do with this, but anyway, we got a grant and put on a play. The play was actually on the land along the river in New London, each act being in a different position. And the people watching it were all in the water on boats and in canoes and in kayaks listening to the play. It was so much fun. You'd go to one spot and hear one act. They had a wonderful sound system, so that worked. Then you'd all paddle like crazy to the next spot and hear the next. And it went on for about 6 acts all around. So that's just a wonderful example of what you can do when you have a beautiful place to live and enthusiastic people who are willing to take part in all these things. I'm really proud of New London and its area and all the people there, these 50 of us who are now working together. And CAT is really something too. Something's going on all the time. And I think it's because we have a real creative spirit around here. I know that the bug that's been going around and all of the other things have kind of stifled that wonderful feeling of creativity that we all have. But I want you to just go take a brush and dump it in the paint and paint and paint and paint. And don't worry about what you're painting. Just do it until the paper's full. And if you don't like it, throw it away and start over on another one. Let the spirit of you come out in your work, and don't worry that your husband isn't going to like it, or it doesn't look exactly like the blossoms you had started out to do. Let the spirit that's in you talk to you and through you, and together we'll all make this even a more wonderful artistic place. Thanks to the Southwest Minnesota Arts and Humanities Council. And I was just loving hearing you all call it SMAC. Because it's like Craig said, SMAC isn't good at all. Excuse me, I'm kind of, so I should tell you that I had my test taken and I tested negative, so you don't have to worry about me giving this to you over the internet. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate every single person and child and adult that I've come in contact with over the years that helped with this. Thank you. I'm going to quit now because I think we've had enough listening. Thank you.
Oh, you missed it. Somebody wrote an email up there.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Julia and Tom. We are just so honored and so happy to be able to celebrate this with you. We also thank all of the nominators and the individuals who wrote letters of support, including those nominees that were not awarded this year. We had many exceptional and deserving candidates, and we encourage nominators to try again in future years. So if you're sitting here thinking about someone who you would nominate as either a Prairie Star or a Prairie Disciple, don't hesitate in starting an application.